I'm here with
Oh, yeah.
Gary, as always. How are you, buddy?
Right. Good. Good, mate.
Nice.
How are you?
Good as well. Yeah,
Uh,
we're
I was
both
just
good.
laughing because it never changes. Never
Yeah, we're
changes.
always good.
Yeah. How are you? Good. Good.
Good lad.
Yeah.
So,
Episode what? Episode where are we?
I think this is episode 4 of season 2, if I
It
remember
is.
rightly. Yeah, I think so.
And
Um,
then, do you know what? This straight out the gate,
mm,
right? This episode, and I need to write this down. This is the relegation decider, or it's going to be a play on because there's a game coming up on Saturday that I've never wanted an away team to win more than I probably do against Sunderland than I ever have. But we'll get into that. We'll park
we
that for
will,
the
yeah,
time
yeah.
being.
That will come in the middle
But
segment.
yeah. But I have got a rant,
Yeah,
and
Gary's
if you
rants are
if
back.
everybody the rants, mate, the back, and this is a little bit old news because we've kind of fell into a bi-weekly cycle of recording podcasts. So
Due to things.
apologies, everybody, but like life gets in the way sometimes. However, we're late to the party on this, right? And it's very fitting because for those who aren't watching the podcast, I'm wearing Sunderland's latest retro wear as we signed a deal with Hummel again to be our
Hummel.
kit manufacturers. It's official, so our next for the next 4 or 5 years or something, well, maybe infinity. Hopefully, Hummel will be creating Sunderland kits, and they brought out a collaboration, and this is the 1992 FA Cup final jacket the guys wore, but it's
Nice.
not from 1992. It's just the
Yeah,
ones they only made
the remake.
1,992 of them. So yeah,
Yeah.
nice. It's retro. It's cool. Whatever, right? But it links into my rant and relate to it because the FA should be ashamed of themselves. There's been so much commentary on it, and I know again we are late to the party when we're recording this to when the announcement was, but anybody involved in that decision should be instantly struck off, and it just leads into the whole argument of the FA went to the Premier League, spoke to them, made a decision to get rid of replays, and absolutely fucked off everybody else. I wouldn't have minded if the FA had consulted from maybe the northern leagues, or maybe the National League might have been the cut off, right?
Yeah.
And then they went through the full EFL and the Premier League, had a consultative period, and then kind of went, you know what, we need to make a change. We've got all of these different people's opinions, and we've decided on it. Didn't even I would have accepted if they didn't go to a vote, anything like that. But at least consult all of the leagues or none of the leagues.
Yeah.
This whole thing of banding to the Premier League, which isn't the best league in the world. I'm sick of hearing Gary Neville say it, Jamie Carragher say it. It's the best product. It's just fucking not. It's flawed completely. It's had too much money pumped into it. You've got too much Saudi investment in it. It's full on corrupt. And that's without thinking about all the different VAR decisions. But the fact that the FA went to the Premier League, and it wasn't probably the Premier League, it would have been kind of
the top
maybe
six.
the top six consulted on it. And then they went, you know what, we'll get rid of replays, which is what the FA Cup is. And like there's loads of stats out there that I could bore people with, and that show the amount of replays that I've had. But it just me and you know, and everybody outside of the Premier League, kind of maybe let's caveat that and maybe think the teams who have just been maybe relegated from the Premier League, so you Southampton, Leeds, Leicester, they're probably looking at trying to compete in the Championship to get straight back, maybe side with the decision as well. And sometimes I don't like replays, but that's the fun of the FA Cup. There's teams that survive off their cup runs,
replays,
and and how early the competition starts to when the Premier League clubs and the EFL teams actually come into it. They've got no fucking right whatsoever to
sit 9 rounds
and make a decision with the Premier League.
There's 9 rounds, I think, before round 3.
There you go. So it's comical. Like it's so obvious that they don't care about the football pyramid. Not that it needs to be stated again, but like it's so blatant now by making that decision that they don't give a toss. They don't care, and it's purely about protecting what brings the money in, which is the Premier League. And what I would say to that is, any of the teams that are involved with it, which you know is the Big Six, I hope to God the European Super League comes back and we can just fuck them off to that league.
Yeah, we've
because
said
no
this
one
before.
gives a toss.
We've said this
No
before,
one gives a
haven't we?
toss. Just let them go. They don't care. They're not bothered. They just want
Yeah, go
money
play in a
and
Super
revenue
League.
streams.
We'll have our proper football league system back with even, well, a somewhat even playing field. But yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. Completely agree with you.
I talked to my brother about it. Like we go out, we've been running and stuff again, just to keep fit in that and keep death away from us for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Or actually feel like it's coming closer to you when you're running, like it's breathing down your neck when you're running. But we were talking about it and they were saying like it's just so frustrating because like why when the Premier League is the way it is, like you can't. It's not an even keel, so I always understand it, but it's just annoying the fact that they can see, oh, we'll go to the Premier League and make the decision because they're the ones bitching and moaning. Basically, Jurgen Klopp, and he's fucking off anyway. And Pep Guardiola, if you can't beat Macclesfield over in one leg with the team, like a Premier League team, then you don't deserve to have a stay. And if that's what you're worried about, maybe change the fixtures. Maybe if it was just a conversation around changing fixtures and maybe spreading it out, maybe a winter break and having an extended season. But no, let's just change a competition that's been like a cornerstone in English football to suit them.
It is obvious though, with like that the FA don't give a shit of those leagues below, well, really below League One, really. Like, so they don't really give a shit about League Two teams. Like, Morecambe have been in trouble recently, and I'm sure they're quite happy just to chuck them out. But like, it's the fixture congestion thing as well for the teams. They say there's a big fixture congestion for these Premier League teams. Oh, they play too many matches, whatever. There's teams in like, I don't know, like Northern Football League. So like, well, that's step 10 or whatever. Yeah, they're playing 6 times a week because of fixture congestion, because of all the cancellations. Like, they're not moaning. Well, they are, but they're not. Their voice isn't heard at all, is it? But then
they're not banging on the door to get the FA Cup cancelled, replays cancelled. Sorry,
the fixture congestion is there because the FA have put an arbitrary date in that the league has to finish by to do their promotion playoff, national promotion playoff things. They have to be finished up by this date, so you have to play 14 fixtures in 2 weeks, and it's just like they don't care. And like, the thing I found funny with that is that replays are staying for the qualifying rounds. Right. So all those clubs that you're not going to make any money off having a replay against a team in your own league, all that's going to cost you is a lot of money in travel costs.
To put it actually on.
And another fixture to play. What would have made more sense is scrap the replays in the qualifying rounds and then have replays from... And then, do you know what you could do then? The qualifying rounds would be done quicker, so then that means the first round and so on can be bumped up and be done... No? Would that not make sense? Or do a German model, where whoever gets to the first round, the lower of the teams are at home. I think that's how it works, but yeah. But then you'd still want to replay, because you go back to the other place and get...
Yeah, you get to play. Like, so, like there's players who they'll never. It's like a level. And I know there's the first round tie, which you'll still get, which everybody hopes for, but like that's like could be a replay in the FA Cup against a big team. It can be like the pinnacle of somebody's career.
Yeah,
and they're just, it screams just like couldn't give a monkeys about the actual state of the game. They're too worried about, oh God, we've got to make sure that Tottenham don't have an extra game to play because they failed to win the first leg. It's like, oh, man.
Fucking idiot.
It's infuriating.
It is infuriating.
But and when you change like an institution, or like an institutional thing like the FA Cup, you're bound to get blowback. They could have changed that and like went with your suggestion and said, we'll abolish the kind of the qualifying round replays, and we'll only do that. That would have still caused outrage because it's been going for however long it's been going for. You know what I mean? Like years and years and years.
I think a lot of the lower league clubs would be quite happy if they didn't have replays in the qualifying rounds, and I think that's purely because of
more chance.
You're not getting that big money. Like you're going to pay a lot more money for travelling costs, and it adds a midweek fixture when you don't need a midweek fixture because some of these clubs are playing 60 odd games a season anyway because they have county cups, they have league cups, they have the FA Trophy, they have the FA Vars or whatever, they have the FA Cup, they have so many cup competitions and just as many league games as the Championship.
And the fixture congestion just because
plus that travelling cost, that extra travelling cost of a replay in the FA Cup preliminary round would be it's not worth the money because they're not making that money back. If it was a replay against, like, say someone from Step 10 was playing someone in, like, League 2 or something like that, like, that's a big game. That away game could make them enough money to run the club for the rest of the season, right? But a replay against someone at their same level is just going to cost them more money, which means they're more likely to not be playing at that level next year because they can't afford to. So there's a fine line there between the two things, which makes sense to have replays from round 1 and no replays before in the qualifying rounds. The opposite way of what they've done it. But all they've done is, like you said, they pandered to the big teams because they're moaning because they've got to play 6 Champions League. Well, 4 teams have to play 6 Champions League games a season. And then,
that's the only reason. Because there's been fixed. Because that's the point. Go on.
Some lower teams playing more games than they are, and they're not even professional. They're not training every day of the week. They train twice a week. A lot of these lot, and they're playing more games than the Premier League players on shitter pitches.
And it's just that thing though as well, and that's what I was trying to say as well about the Premier League. It's purely because of the extra games of the Champions League because there's always been talk about replay, but never changed. But now the Champions League has changed it. We have to change. It's like anyway, that was my rant. And
in the Champions League now, don't they?
Yeah.
So they get 2 extra.
2.
So they're getting rid of replays for 2 extra Champions League.
But it depends though, because if you play, depending on where you qualify. Or where you finish in the league, you might have a less games, so it could be 4. But then
But then at the end of the day, that's only for potentially 5 teams. Out of
shocking.
Not every team.
Absolutely shocking.
Well, not every team's going to have that. So you pandered for the top 6, haven't they? Really? Let's put it this way.
100%. They'll say that they haven't. But it's obvious that they have.
Isn't it? Is someone's given a brown paper bag and said abolish those FA Cup replays because no one wants them, and they say no one wants them, and they're like, well, should we consult everyone because the lower league teams might want them? We go, well, it doesn't matter about them. We'll give you loads of money. There you go. It's corrupt as fuck, isn't it? Like it's clear.
Yeah. Well,
the decision making just proves the corruptness.
But that's the thing I was saying that you always say, just to re-quote yourself, is that every major league in Europe has had a corruption scandal, but the English Premier League is squeaky clean, and it's like it's
bollocks. It's just well covered up because the most corrupt people are the ones making the decisions on who's the corrupt things,
But like I keep saying, I've got no real desire or real kind of urge to be in the Premier League, and I'll get pelters for that, like from Sunderland fans, because we'll just say, that's what you're working towards. But the dream is obviously European football. Like we'll build ourselves up and then build ourselves up over time. But then reality of that happening is that's going to take 20 years if everything goes right. So what's the point? Like
League Cup.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose there's the conference and that. But what I was going to say, now the rant's over, just in a bit of news. Did you see the news about Gateshead?
I did, yeah. And the council not giving them a 10-year lease so they wouldn't be allowed in the playoffs. That is fucking mental. And you feel for Gateshead because they literally were like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
we're in the playoffs. And then they go, all of a sudden, you fail criteria. Why? Because the council won't give you a 10-year lease on your ground that they played in since 1976. Like fuck, they're going to change ground in the next 10 years. You know what I mean? As you're you're relatively local to Gateshead, aren't you?
Yeah, not too far.
Have you been there to the International Stadium?
I've been to Gateshead Stadium, yeah.
Was it like? Because it's got a running track in it.
It isn't a football ground, in fairness.
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
quite big though, isn't it, for their level?
Yeah, it's not fit for purpose just for a Premier League game, but it's a Premier League game for a football game, I should say, because it's an athletic stadium. Yeah. So it's got like the running track and it's built up for
the stadium meets criteria though for the Football League.
It does, but the problem I have is that Gateshead have done too good for themselves where they weren't expecting it, and obviously the ownership haven't anticipated it. Plus, obviously Mike Williamson left this season, and he went to MK Dons, who have obviously got into the playoffs in League Two. Mm-hmm. But Rob Elliott took over, and like, in fairness, like, they've done a really good job. Like, to get into the playoffs, it's just like, and to go out playoffs based off of a technicality on an agreement around your ground is absolutely criminal. Like, and the council should be ashamed of themselves, because they could have easily put a 10-year contract in place with a break, anyway. Like a contract break or something, like a penalty or something, if you wanted to leave and go and get your own stadium. But obviously Gateshead haven't planned for that. The council aren't going to give them it because Tory backed and put the Tories and all that nonsense. But it just goes to show, like, again, a non on-field issue for a club has set them back. Maybe, I mean, there's no guarantee that they go through and go up or whatever, but like, that's set them back about 10 years because they can't. What's the point in playing for Gateshead? Because the council won't give you the lease, so it's going to cost you millions to develop your own stadium, which you haven't got. So you're talking 10 years of nothingness because the council won't support it.
The thing that makes it worse as well, if we're talking about non-league football and having a rant here as well,
go for it.
Gateshead have been at that ground since 1976. It's their ground. They play football there. Right, they've got their own ground, haven't they? Technically. I know that it's leased from the council, but it's still their own ground. But then you see all these clubs popping out of nowhere, ground sharing, mainly around London, just to promote themselves at the pyramid. And they are allowed into the Football League because they share a ground with someone who meets the criteria. But they don't actually own their own ground.
How mad would it be if they just Gateshead struck a deal with like for St James's?
Yeah, they just said, okay, right, we're not playing at the International Stadium next year. We're playing at St James's Park, like, and then the Football League can't. What can they say? What can they say? They're like, well, we've got a 10-year lease with Newcastle to have their ground.
Yeah.
So,
you just have to work your fixtures out.
Which
I mean, I know it never happened. But it's just stupid. Like, as I get older in football, you realise how much off-field like politics there actually is.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just as much play football. Just want to see my team do well. We shouldn't have to fucking sign a 10-year lease with the council.
It's happened to one of my local teams to me as well. They're in the Southern League, Division 1 Central. I can't remember the name of what it's called, but basically they were told with about 12 games left that they weren't allowed to be promoted, and they were second, and all their players left, and they just dropped like a stone, and they're like mid-table now, right? The funny thing about it was they'd just been relegated from the league above. So suddenly they're grounded. It was fine the season before, but now it isn't. But yeah, it's the ground grading stuff for all these little small village teams that want to progress, and they have to have 200 seats and X number of turnstiles and changing rooms that meet a certain square footage. That seems mental to me that the FA's forcing this on these little tiny clubs, putting them into so much debt when they know full well they're not going to get that crowd.
But then they'll let people like
ground share.
The guy,
if you ground share, it's fine. no, fine, whatever, do it. So that's how all these teams around London, none of them have got their own grounds. They all ground share with each other.
But but the thing is that on the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got somebody like Darlington who'd go out and build a massive, massive stadium, totally financially cripple themselves, and just go into nothing, obscurity.
Yeah, but that's happened to a lot.
And they'd let them do that. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Because it meets their criteria. So there's a lot of smaller clubs that build big old fucking stadiums. Well, not big, but big for their size of their village, their town, whatever, to progress. And then no one turns up, or they never fill it because they knew they were never going to fill it, but they had to build it if they wanted to go up a league. So they spent all that money, and the FA is basically just crippling teams, and that's why so many teams go under. Every season you hear of teams just, oh, we can't afford to play at this level anymore, or we're going to voluntarily demote ourselves to outside into county league football because we can't afford to keep this ground open because we're not getting the crowds. But then, like, the reason is because the FA have forced them to build grounds that they don't need. But yeah, it is mental. But we are getting a new, probably another into this next segment. But I'll touch on this because we might not talk about the National League anyway much into the next bit. We are going to get a new team in the Football League, with Solihull Moors or Bromley. I don't think Gateshead would have beaten either of those teams because they are much better than most of the teams in that playoff bracket. But
I watched the Bromley Altrincham game.
Yeah,
it was on TNT Sports. It's quite good. I saw the third goal. It's absolute wonder goal, like, to be fair. But yeah, salt of the earth, them teams. But yeah, let's go for a quick break and then we'll dive into the next section because I'm eager to talk to you.
Yeah, sounds good, mate.
Welcome back to football. Bloody hell.
Bloody hell, man.
Bloody hell.
My knees.
So, my knees, bloody hell. So this section, mate, I'll let you go on, as you alluded to, about a newbie to the Football League. But I want to take our minds somewhere else.
Go up a few leagues, shall we?
Yeah, into the Championship.
Yeah, we'll start there. We'll start with the Championship. I'll touch on those newbies at the end because there's more important things that are going on between our two teams, aren't there?
Hey, here we are. Who'd have thought it, man? Last game of the season. It was written in podcasting lights.
Do you know what would have been brilliant? If I could have come up for that, and that would have been class. But my football season's still fucking going. I don't know. My football season finishes after the Championship because of all this rain. But
I don't hear you complaining about FA Cup replays. Oh, yeah. I don't want to go back down there. We'll move past it. We've had that section of the podcast. I'll move past it.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
But so it seems now I'm of the impression that use are safe now. I know mathematically you're not, and there's goal swings and all of that nonsense. But since my season has been finished as a Sunderland fan since February, when Michael Beale left and we decided not to get a manager because we were planning for the summer, I've quite enjoyed the end of the Championship on both ends because nobody wants to go up apart from Leicester, but they don't really want to win it. Leeds don't want to, getting thumped off QPR, and then Huddersfield seem like they want to get relegated. Let's be honest, they do.
They're well up for that. They're
well up for it.
To be in League One. I think they're pretty much gone now, aren't they?
They're level on points with the goal difference. So basically, the teams who could go down on Saturday are Plymouth, Birmingham, or the mighty blue and white Sheffield Wednesday.
I think
you travel
with a weird swing. I think Blackburn can as well.
Yes, sorry, because they're on 50 points,
They're
aren't
on the
they?
same as us. Yeah. It'll be a weird fucking swing of events that relegate Blackburn, though. I think.
I think they need to be like what 4, like
So what's their
there's
goal?
about 4 or 5 goals in it, maybe.
They
But that
got
which can swing if they concede a few and another team scores a few.
they got the
But
same
whilst
goal
you're
difference as Birmingham. So basically, Plymouth win, Wednesday win, Birmingham win, Blackburn lose. Blackburn will go down.
wow, I'd quite like them to go down. I mean, actually, to be fair, I would probably want Birmingham to go down
They've been
out of all
dross.
them teams.
I saw a Birmingham City fan mention something. I can't remember. It was on X or something like that. Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. And they were saying that their team are just not caring anymore. They said they should have. They played Huddersfield at the weekend on Saturday, didn't they? And it was a 1-1 draw. And they said, like, if we really wanted to stay up, we would have won that game. Like, if we really want to stay up.
It's so brutal, man.
Whereas
but we find ourselves.
we've done something that's fucking mental. Like, I never saw that result on Saturday coming after
3-0.
getting 2 draws against like Stoke, and like I was thinking,
Yeah.
fuck me, we're just gonna draw the rest of our games and get relegated on goal difference or something, and then it's like, and then we go and batter West Brom, like
It's
literally
unbelievable.
fighting for the playoff places.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I didn't see the result. I thought that was the hardest of your games because, like, West Brom, they're trying to solidify who they play. So I thought might have seen it, but you turned them over. Like, you were on your own doorstep, which obviously helps. And when Hillsborough's like loud, it can be quite intimidating place. So
it was a turnover, but if you saw the possession stats, you would have thought we've just been clinical here.
yeah.
Because we only had 35% possession.
But again, like,
we've been clinical, but we've had the same amount of shots, same amount of like shots on target, like all that stuff. West Brom have just been wasteful, I think.
Yeah, sideways and backwards, like a crab. Play crab football. But to be fair, like, the more, I mean, I hope you enjoy him because obviously when the season ends, Danny's just basically this is his tour of his job. So he's coming up the Stadium of Light. He's going to bring you here. He's going to win at the Stadium of Light, which will be handy because when he does become Sunderland manager, he won't win at the Stadium of Light because we always seem to struggle at home. But joking aside, I can't believe we find ourselves where you really you need a point, right? You just need a point.
Yeah, point.
And it's us.
Think where we were at Christmas. This is
unbelievable.
Mental. The fact that we're a point away from just staying up and it's fine, and we're in the position that we're in.
I'd be quite happy to give you that point, but I don't think we need to give you it because I genuinely think it's not like I'm looking at like you as a team and thinking the form or anything like that. It's just Sunderland genuinely, they haven't damn tools, but there's been a complete. They've just been going through the motions really since Michael Beale was sacked, which is the most pointless appointment ever of a manager coming to any club. Our season literally has been finished since probably the start of March.
Yeah,
we weren't at any risk. We look at it now. You only three. If you beat us, I think there's only 3 points difference between us. And you consider how much there was from Christmas to now.
2 or 3 points when Danny Roll took over.
I think we're bottom of the 50. Form table.
Hey,
I think we're bottom of the form table.
Yeah, we're second in the form table.
But then I don't look at it like just see our form or where. I genuinely just think that we've got absolutely nothing to play for other than so they don't get pelted when they do a lap of honour at the end of the game, with it being the last home game of the season. But I genuinely think if you come with any sort of intent to win the game, you will.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we'll do anything. And I know there's a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans starting to get nervous about Patrick Roberts because of the goal in the playoffs and the goals before. And he hasn't scored at all this season. And he's been horrendous this season since he was injured. He needs due a goal. And apparently that's Sheffield Wednesday are willing to provide that according to the fan base. However, in all seriousness, I do think if you come with any intent to beat us, you'll beat us because we are like a wet paper towel, useless at the minute.
I
So
just
just
hope,
kick back and relax,
you,
mate. You're
you,
gonna get a point at least.
yeah, you don't want Danny Roll anyway. He's not that good. Like,
Well,
you want
apparently,
Marty
somebody.
Cifuentes off QPR, don't you? That's what I
Yeah,
heard.
yeah. Well, apparently, I'm sure you've mentioned his name before, but the assistant at Bayern 2, I think. I forgot his name. I'm sure you've mentioned him on another
Oh, I might have done, yeah.
conversation. He's been linked with the Sunderland job as well, which would make sense because never heard of him. He's working with kids, cost us little. But I don't know, maybe putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. But I just think there's too much going on at Ramis at the minute where they're so out of form. They got spanked last night off bottom of the league, Le Havre 4-1, and they're so out of form. I just feel like if it's not us, he's definitely leaving that club. So
Yeah.
I just think he fits us because of his age, his style of play,
Will still.
the ability to speak French. We've got a lot of French players in our team. I just think on paper he looks like a good fit, but I don't know. I've got no idea. But I really have not been asked about how we performed since mid to late February. Whereas I've quite enjoyed watching the games at both ends of the table, thinking we've got absolutely no say in what goes on. So the sooner this all finishes, the better. But we can help you, so I don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, you got a little bit of a say there. I mean, I'm trying to find the other who everyone have got.
Plymouth play Ipswich.
Fuck me.
Good luck. So they're fucked. But then again, Ipswich have been like dropping points.
Plymouth are playing Hull. Sorry.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Still, Hull are pushing for the playoff places now, aren't they? They're only 2 points behind West Brom, so they got everything to play for. Birmingham are playing Norwich.
I thought somebody had to play Ipswich.
Is it Blackburn? Blackburn are playing Leicester.
Maybe.
Jeez.
Leicester. I knew some of the top teams were playing the bottom.
Who's playing Ipswich? Huddersfield are playing Ipswich, but they're pretty much gone.
That's it. See, I knew somebody was. So they're dead.
Huddersfield are playing Ipswich. Birmingham are playing Norwich. Plymouth are playing
Hull. Need 3 points.
Plymouth playing
or
Hull,
at least a point.
Need 3 points as well. And Blackburn are playing Leicester.
You know what? That reeks of Blackburn getting a result there because it'll be party. They'll be handed the title potentially. Actually, no. They need to win, don't they, to win the league, just to make sure.
Yeah, because Ipswich.
Well, maybe not win,
league,
but.
League's
No.
Ipswich got.
So Ipswich can still win the league. Yeah. But actually, well, you look at it, and they've played 44. Leicester have played 44. So who's Leicester's last 2 games? Oh, so they play Preston. So Blackburn will be watching.
They're playing.
Weirdly, Blackburn are going to be watching Preston, begging Preston to get beat. Just let them get beat, so they've won the league and they've got nothing to play for. In Blackburn.
Yeah, because if Preston win that game, they're on 60. Well, they've got nothing to play for now. Preston, have they really? No, they can't make the playoffs. So but Leicester will want that 100 points, surely. They'll want to get to 100 points. They're greedy fuckers. They'll want that 100 points. 2 wins against Preston and Blackburn.
You know. Well, we'll see. But
Ipswich.
Yeah.
You feel like whoever Huddersfield are done. They're done.
Yeah.
Birmingham are playing Norwich, who need to win to just guarantee playoffs, and then Plymouth playing Hull as well. Hull win, they could knock West Brom out of the playoffs.
God, yeah.
All the teams apart from us have got playing someone who actually needs something, and we're just playing you lot.
We're just having a kick
on
about
holidays.
You know what? It probably will be a draw. It'll just be a boring draw. Nothing will happen.
To be honest,
or what will happen is I mean,
a 1-1 draw will keep us up. So it's or a 0-0. Like
Let's
if it's just nothing
let's
happens,
just talk
it's
about
like we're just kicking the ball around the centre circle because if we know if we get a point, you get a point, you don't care, we get a point, we're fine. Like just kick them.
Do you know what?
I'll be
Do you
like
know what I
done
think?
for like corruption so badly that game.
Yeah. What I do think though is, like, I think what my expectation is that it'll probably. I imagine you'll beat us. I do. The reality is, it's probably going to be a draw because you'll come on and we might catch you on the counter or something like that. But it'd be just so typical Sunderland where I want them kind of just to. The one time I don't mind us not getting 3 points at home, it'll be the time where we absolutely spank you about 4-0 or something, and it'll send you down because there'll be a mad turn of events. It'll be such a typical Sunderland thing to happen where I don't want something to happen and it does.
So
but
for
in
us to
reality,
go
it'll
down,
probably be a draw.
Birmingham have to win against Norwich.
I love the drama, man. I love when it's last day stuff. There's nothing better. I mean, if you're outside of it.
So if we,
but like,
so we touched on the bottom of the league. Who do you reckon's going down? Birmingham, Huddersfield, Rotherham?
I
think we're safe to say Rotherham are gone. Huddersfield, I think, are safe to say are gone.
I do you know what? I think
I would
Rotherham,
love
Huddersfield,
to see
definitely.
a weird spin and Blackburn get relegated. That would be hilarious.
That'd be funny. But I think I look at Plymouth and I just think
Plymouth have got a better goal difference than Birmingham. So even if Birmingham get a point,
16.
they're still down.
Yeah, but I just think Birmingham, it's last dance stuff, isn't it? Like it's now or never. And like, I mean, there was a big thing with the fans having the falling out with the players at the end of the game and stuff. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think you'll go down. I don't think Blackburn's going down. But it's literally between Birmingham and Plymouth. And I would prefer Plymouth to stay up.
Yeah, let's keep Plymouth in the league. Should we go Birmingham, Huddersfield, Rotherham? Should we mutually agree that's what we're reckoning?
Yeah, lock it in. Let's relegate them. Thumbs down. Bang. See you later, guys.
Top of the league then?
Ipswich.
Ipswich second?
Well, sorry, top win in the league
Leicester.
is Leicester. I think Ipswich scored with them. Yeah.
Then we're saying, what, Leeds, Southampton, I'd say Norwich are probably going to be in there. I reckon, who have West Brom got? Because Hull... West Brom are playing Preston. Hull are playing Plymouth. I reckon Hull might sneak it in, you know. We battered West Brom on Saturday. They've lost their last 3 matches. They are bottling it. They are massively bottling this.
Yeah, I would say so.
They are massively like they were nailed on. Like a couple of weeks ago, they were like what 5th, weren't they? And
Fourth.
we were like
the 4th or 5th.
Yeah, and we were like, yeah, West Brom are going to be in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, they've lost 3 on the bounce, and Hull have come out of fucking nowhere, and they're going to go.
Well, do you know what it is though?
In.
Hull need to, because like I forgot that my brother will be listening to this when we send it out, going it's X amount, but I'm sure like their turnover of player wages is like 1 point something. They're doing
what we did a couple of years ago, where we put all our money into player wages to try and get promoted, and then if you don't get promoted, you'll get relegated the next season. That is pretty much what Hull are doing then. That's
genuinely what I think. It's now or never. But even if Hull get into the playoffs, I think
they're not going up.
Nah, do you know what it is? I was talking about it now, and I was thinking because I didn't realise West Brom was out of form.
I don't think they're going.
My brother said whoever finishes 6th, he thinks will go up.
Hull.
But looking at it, if Hull do go into it, I wouldn't mind a bet on them, because I can't see Leeds doing it. Leeds can't do it over 2 legs. They might win a final, but they won't do it over 2 legs. So I think they'll bottle it. Southampton are absolutely terrible in form coming into this.
3 losses.
The fans left the ground, sacked off the lap it, even though they're still in the playoffs, ready to go up, rather than back the team and say, come on, like, sort it out the left. And the only team going into the playoffs at the minute, arguably currently in the top four, I say
Norwich,
top four, in the
maybe.
top six, is Norwich.
And they've only won 2 out of the last 5. Like, they're not exactly on form, are they? Like,
unbeaten, and that's the difference. It's
Hull will be
unbeaten.
unbeaten
But I look
as
at
well,
Hull.
or Norwich.
Look at Hull, right? So Hull's last 2, 4, 6 games is in order: win, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw. And then you look at Norwich, which is last 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is lost, which was to Leicester, which isn't that bad. Which is win, draw, draw.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and because of the way the games go, I would expect Hull. If we're going to lock this in, we're going to say Leeds, Southampton, Norwich, and Hull in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I would think
Norwich Hull final.
Norwich Hull final.
And then, do you know how amazing this will be if Norwich get promoted and it's Norwich and Ipswich that go up?
Oh God!
East Anglian derby in the Premier League.
East Anglian derby in the Premier League. Unbelievable scenes. My God.
That'd be class, actually. I would like that.
But there's no. Oh well, then again, they might meet each other in the playoff finals if things don't go.
That'd be something else as well.
But I just don't fancy any of those teams.
Thing is, though, Ipswich win their game in hand. Their goal difference isn't better than Leeds, but you have to look at who they're playing. They're playing Coventry, who've got nothing to play for, and their form hasn't been great. And then they got Huddersfield, who are pretty much resigned to relegation. Because Huddersfield can't really escape now. It's a huge swing in goal difference for them to stay up. Like, they need a, 15 goal swing? 15 goal swing between them and Plymouth to stay up?
I think Leeds beat Southampton, though, so that's tricky. Because Leeds are playing Southampton at Ellen Road, last game of the season, and then if you look at the games that Southampton's had,
do you reckon it'll
they
come down
got
to goal
beat off
difference
Cardiff 2-1.
Well, that's Leeds.
It's still all to play for, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's fucking lovely.
exciting.
Like, this is why the Championship. If anyone's listening and they don't believe us that the Championship is the most exciting league in the world, please believe us.
It's absolutely mad. But going out of the Championship, mate, as we're coming to the tail end of the podcast, let's just calm down. Get ready for Saturday. Everything's going to be fine.
We could get promoted.
You're going to get your point. I'll bring you a full time and say congrats. It's all good. But tell us about
the
League Two newbies who it could be.
Yeah, so League Two newbies playoff final. So we know Chesterfield are already coming to League Two. They're not really new to the Football League, so they're irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're fine. They're a big club in a small fucking pond, and they're like a shark in a fucking tadpole bowl. Yeah, they're coming back into the Football League. We're getting rid of 2 teams, Sutton United and Forest Green Rovers, who aren't Football League teams. They haven't been Football League teams for long. Sutton can get their plastic pitch back. Forest Green can go back to wherever they came from in some magical forest. And then we'll get Chesterfield back. And then we'll get some proper teams coming up. Bromley. Bromley have been there or thereabouts at the top of the National League for a long time. They're a decent side. They're a community sort of club as well, so they do things sort of right off the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It is another London team though, mate. Do we want another London team in there? Or
needs must, innit?
Do we want more teams from Birmingham? Solihull Moors, which sounds like a Sunday League team.
Yeah.
They're it's a 2 teams that formed together. I think it was Moor Green and Solihull Borough. They merged and became Solihull Moors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, about 20.
Well, I know Solihull because I've done work down there. I've worked in Solihull, but I didn't know that about the club.
And they did a rebrand last year, like their badge, and I'm not a fan. I like their old one. But anyway, enough of that.
The purist in you.
Solihull Moors I feel that they're going to do it purely because of how pissed off they were with how the National League fucked up the Gateshead situation. Because what they did originally was put Solihull Moors straight into the semi-finals. They tweeted this out. They did it as a full press conference. They said Gateshead aren't playing. Solihull Moors straight into the semi-finals. A day later, sorry, Altrincham are straight into the semi-finals, and Solihull Moors have to play Halifax. And you're playing in 2 days' time. Like, literally, they did that. They battered Halifax. They battered Barnet 4-0 away from home.
Yeah, I did see the result.
Barnet comfortably finished second as well. They were probably thinking, "No, we got this nailed down, haven't we? All this malarkey's going on." Solihull Moors just come into town and just smash them. And they've got experience in playing at Wembley. Solihull Moors have been here before and lost. They've also got this weekend, I think it is, they're playing Gateshead, funny enough, in the FA Trophy final, also at Wembley.
Oh, a nice little
so they've got
tweet.
They've got a bit of experience. I feel like Solihull may be going into it as favourites. But I'm just happy that we're going to have a different team in the Football League. It's going to be exciting. You're either going to have a team from Birmingham or the 70th team from London. both good clubs though, and it's going to be a nice situation to have a new team into the Football League.
Well, I did like I said, I did watch the Bromley game, and again, I don't know. Anybody who probably supports a Premier League team might think, "Oh, it's just because you're not part of the big leagues or whatever." But genuinely, I find myself watching lower and lower leagues of football and enjoying it more.
Yeah,
like I do. I watched. I felt really bad because I just watched. I think I might have mentioned it, and if I haven't already, James Curtis, a friend of the family kind of thing, like my daughter's dad.
Oh, it's Spennymoor.
My daughter's dad. Wait there, my daughter's dad.
Mate, what are you telling?
That's
what
me.
are you not telling us here?
It's confession time on the FBH podcast. But so my daughter's friend, I know my daughter's friend. You stop mine. Here we are. My daughter's friend's dad, James Curtis, veteran of the sport, has played over 1,000 non-league football games. James Curtis announced he's finally hanging the boots up, and Spennymoor was his last. Spennymoor season finished, and they finished just outside the playoffs after going on like a 10, 11, 12 game unbeaten run, winning probably 75% of those games, and just at the last hurdle fell short of the playoffs after a pretty horrendous season of going through 3 different managers and stuff. But the reason I mention it for James is just 1,000 games. The guy could have almost had 2 fucking testimonials because he played for Gateshead for so long and then played for Spennymoor for so long. Yeah. He was so close to it. I've never heard of a player getting 2 testimonials at different clubs.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Fair play to him. Let's do a round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause, James. I've already sent you a message, but well done, mate.
It's unfortunate that Spennymoor couldn't get through the playoffs as well. That's a shame, but I mean, it's a tough.
To be fair, though,
tough fucking league. To be honest, all these national leagues are so tough to get out of.
What I would say as well, though, in fairness to him, he did tweet out that he did get brought on for the last 10 minutes. And during the warm-up along the line, he pulled his calf and he nearly scored an own goal in 10 minutes. So I think it was about right time to hang the boots up. But yeah, nonetheless, well done, James.
Also, just a bit of a segue on Bromley. In my predictions, I had them to finish 4th. They finished 3rd.
Ooh.
So I wasn't far off. Maybe I
let's not carried away with the predictions, mate, because you've definitely got a hell of a lot of stuff wrong.
I got a lot wrong.
Which we'll reveal in the next couple of podcasts.
Lower league may be better for me.
That's your gravy, innit?
Let's just quickly touch on a couple of the other promotions. So Stockport, Wrexham and Mansfield up from League 2. Playoffs, MK Dons, Doncaster, Crewe and Crawley. Crawley Town getting into the playoffs is fucking mental, considering that they've got no budget, their owners are nut jobs. They have no players, they were predicted to finish last, so fair play to them. MK Dons going up from that? I reckon so.
Yeah.
I reckon so. Sutton and Forest Green relegated. We knew that already.
Bye-bye.
Obviously, Wrexham promoted 2 seasons in a row. Fair play to them. I think they'll do well in League One. I think they'll start finding it a bit more difficult in League One, though.
Yeah, I think this is where they'll start to see the reality of the challenge that they've got to get to where they want to go, which is...
Stockport are probably going to do quite well in League One as well. I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, they've been really good. They've been really consistent all season as well, especially with like the Hunting Pack. They've just remained top for such a long time.
Exactly, yeah. Into League One, promoted Pompey and Derby. 2 big teams coming up. Playoffs, Bolton, Peterborough, Oxford and Barnsley. And that's a hard one to pick. Like, I mean, realistically, most people would say Bolton. But that could be any of those 4. Realistically.
No, I agree. I think if you look at it, you'd expect Bolton. Peterborough had a bit of a weird end to the season because they've obviously took the foot off the gas a bit, and they always do this. They start really well, fade off, and then sneak in.
They're always in the playoffs, though.
Yeah, I think Barnsley will be very lucky if they even end in the playoffs. I think maybe Lincoln or Blackpool might just pip them.
Oh, the season's over, mate.
Oh God, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit, what am I saying? I'm thinking 45 games still, like us.
Yeah.
So sorry,
just us that's slow.
I don't think. I know. I don't think Barnsley do because I think they will get beat up Bolton, and Barnsley were in, not in because the season's finished. Were in horrendous form, and then I don't know. I think it's between Bolton or Oxford, and I would probably back Oxford. I don't know why.
My local team.
Yeah, maybe that's why. for any stadium, but I don't know. I would probably say Bolton, but I don't know. Peterborough again over 2 legs. I mean, after the nightmare that I had with Hughes in the playoffs
in the last few matches, I'm pretty sure they've beaten them in the last couple of games.
Peterborough beat them 5-0.
Oh, Peterborough beat them 5-0.
Yeah.
That's well, isn't it?
No, sorry. No, sorry. Oxford beat Peterborough 5-0.
Oh, right, yeah. There you go.
That was the most recent one. I'm just trying to go back. And then Peterborough won 3-0 in the reverse fixture earlier in the season.
Yeah, Peterborough are good starters, aren't they, though? That's the thing. That's why they find themselves in those places all the time.
But are they looking to
they could fucking
address some demons from last year after what happened? Because that's got to linger.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, it has to.
But I tell you what, then, mate. Let's nail ourselves to the cross here, and this is where we'll end the pod, right?
Yeah.
Who goes up from League One to accompany Portsmouth and Derby? Who out of those 4 teams is gonna go up? Bolton. Yeah.
Bolton.
I'd probably back Bolton, but do you know what? I'm gonna throw a wild card in there, and I'm gonna say Oxford's gonna do it.
Right.
I don't know why.
Yeah, we have to have opposites. So
we'll be opposite, but secretly I think it's Bolton. Yeah. However, in the interest of this, it's Oxford.
And just before we come on to the last little question or tidy up or whatever, so relegation: Cheltenham, Fleetwood, Port Vale, Carlisle. I think that's all expected. Fleetwood, a little bit of a surprise. They normally like a sort of middling League One side, aren't they? But they've just had a fucking terrible season, and that can happen. Reading and Wigan staying up. Fair play to them.
Surprising.
Points deductions.
Yeah.
Reading actually stayed up quite comfortably. 9 points clear of relegation.
Good job. In his first managerial job as well, isn't it?
Yeah, So fair play to them. The teams that went down half expected. Little touch, Darren Moore technically, if Huddersfield go down, and he's relegated 2 teams this year. But I didn't want to mention that, but yeah. Promoted one last
Well,
year.
if you score,
Just
Daddy's
can't stay in the
relegated
same
3.
league. But yeah, and then who do we? Yeah, we're thinking Norwich, aren't we? Possibly on 4. The Championship's so fucked, though, isn't it? Like, I mean, for me, like, it's so hard to predict. Next season, Watford could win the league by a country mile. You just don't know. Like,
I think next season, looking at the teams coming down from the Premier League, it's probably going to be the hardest one again. I thought this season was one of the hardest. I think it's going to be even harder.
It's going to be difficult. Like, because I think.
But we'll have an episode where we do that, where we'll
Sheffield United,
before a player's signed and
we've already
just
got
after
Sheffield
what's
United, haven't we?
Yeah. Then I think they'll struggle to make the playoffs next season. But anyway, mate, let's go for a quick break, and then I've got something to tell you at the end of the episode.
Sounds good, mate.
Welcome back to Football Bloody Hell. We've made it, mate.
Yeah, we've made it. We're at the end.
You're at the end, so we won't stay for too long. I just want to tell you something. So we obviously started off with the rant, and we moved our way through the episode, going through our upcoming battle that we have on Saturday, which isn't going to be that much of a battle, and some kind of reflection on the teams that we predicted. And to end the episode, I just want to advise you of the level of pettiness that some people will go to, right?
Yeah, go.
So there's a ridiculous story. I don't know if you've seen it over the weekend. Ryan Burge, a former Port Vale player, flew over the ground on Saturday with a banner, like mocking Port Vale, something like about Stoke was relegated because I thought it was like Stoke had paid for it. It was like ha 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 relegation, something along those lines. And he purposely got his pilot's license to do it. So basically, I don't know the circumstances of how he left Port Vale. I'm guessing it wasn't amicable, because he went, after he was released, got his pilot's license and waited for the moment that Port Vale were relegated just so he could fly a banner. And his tweet said, "Wow, just landed. Thank you to the Stoke fans who paid me to do something I would have happily done for free. A bit shaky at takeoff, but I put that down to the excitement. Starry-eyed face. However, once I got up in the sky, it was smooth all the way from there. And shout out to my instructor, Jeff, who was guiding me all the way. This is an experience I will cherish for the rest of my life. Vale Park looks like an even bigger shithole from the sky."
Wow. Wow. That's another level, isn't it? That is genuinely
literally on a different level.
Completely different level. I want to know what beef he has with Port Vale now. I want to know what happened.
Well, he's just a former player, and again, I'm guessing
he's not going to play
for
him again
on the
either,
best of circumstances because it drove him to get his pilot's license, and said he would do it for free, but he's pocketed the money, and I'm here for it. Like, I love how petty that
brilliant.
is.
I think it's absolutely hilarious.
And there we are, mate. I wanted to leave you with that little tidbit of information, and thank you again, everybody, for listening. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. And if you go and get your pilot's license and want to put a little banner on there, say, listen to the Football Bloody Hell podcast on the back of it, that'd be lovely. We're not paying for you.
Absolutely.
We're not paying for your lessons.
We endorse it.
We're not Stoke fans. We're not rich.
I know. But anyway, thanks again, Matt. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will catch you very soon.
Yeah. Take it easy, fellas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.